Hey there, I just wanted to go over some of the changes I've made since last week. Here we go. Alright, as you can see here, I've changed the texture of everything in the environment is now this grid pattern. Just a simple grid, but just a little bit of some you know, texture to it, just to make it not look that plain. But other than that, it's just a standard little texture. And it's a little reflective, so we can bounce some light around the scene. You'll see here I've built blockouts for the statues. They're just meant to be people, and they have a little orb here, and that's what's emitting the light. So blue, red. This is mostly just a block out for just movement around, but also if I get with the art director, I can be like, I'm looking for statues of people holding magical objects or something similar to get the concept artists and they can figure it out. I also was thinking that the action that the statue is performing with the hands could also match the action that the player does whenever they use the gauntlet. So if this is the person with their hands like outturned, then whenever they use both red gauntlets or one red gauntlet, that they make that action with their hands. And then you could have a different position for the blue hands, and it'll be the same thing. So it's just a simple little animation that could be added to add some flair to whenever the player's doing something. And it's not really something that the player would have to actually do, just would do it automatically depending on the color of their gauntlets. But it adds some character to the, just since you can only show so much by just making a gauntlet light up. So I've added a light in here. This would just direct the player. So if the player starts out here, everything's dark. So this will go this way because it's lit up. I remove the light in the middle of here, so it's just a well, and the sunlight you can see if you look up where the sun is. And then I just put a spotlight just to shine down and light up the ground. So I've replaced all the statues with the Blockout statue. Didn't change any of the colors. And I've actually increased the radiuses of the point lights in the scene. I changed their movability to static. That way they didn't interfere with each other. I don't know what it is, but if the attenuation radius, I guess, touches the other light when they're movable, then it throws up an error when you go to bake lighting, and it just says, well, I can't bake this light, I'll just do it live. And, I don't want it to do that. Since I'm not going to be moving these lights, I just turn that off, and they're just static. So you can see purple, blue, these white statues next to where the door would be. Red statue, purple statue. And then, because of the size of the statues, I put a little step over so you could go around it. This, I might also just move this back some. I might move it back anyway, because if you go up here, and you go past the statue, and jump across here, like when you step on this and the door opens, you only see the top of the door. I may want to move it back further so that you can see the whole door open, not just the top of the door. And not only that, but if you run down, you don't hit the top of the door as you fall down. You land on the ground and then can go through the door. And then I could just pull this, make the platform longer, pull this, get rid of this, and it could just be the way it was before. So for the archways, what I planned was, as you can see, these two. Actually, I'll show you this way. Let's go to. All right. So the archways, as you can see, they have it set up so that, as we've seen the blueprints before, they turn different colors based on what they're set in game. If I bring in a actually, it's a blueprint. We're bringing the test statue blueprint, as you can see here. Move this down. Everything in here is, there are two components. There's the mesh itself, and then there is a point light. The point light has actions applied to it. The event begin play, and then the point light. I'm looking to set this light color, and then a light color is set as a public variable. That's just a vector, 3-point vector, and so when the game starts, I can just go. I have the statue. I can go over here to light color, and then I can set it. So if I want this to be red, I can just set this to 255, hit enter, and then when I play, it's red. If I got this and tell this to be 255, it's purple, etc. So it works sort of similar to how the gates work, but it just sets up the color and we're good to go. The good thing about it is, what's interesting is the light starts white, so when it bakes the light, I'll be honest, I don't know how it's doing it, but it still bakes the correct color, or I guess it bakes white and just makes it color. I'll be honest, I have no idea how it's doing it. I didn't expect it to work, but apparently it does. So as long as I have the statue set to whatever color it needs to be when I bake the lighting, it bakes the proper lighting. So for the gates, I wanted to have these statues, because if I'm gonna make a big deal out of these statues, I might as well use them up. So instead of this gate here, we'll just use this as a frame at this gate. We would have two statues facing each other. So then I will have some system of connecting them, maybe a orb floating, or maybe I'll put something on the ground to connect between them, so that the player runs over that. That's what causes them to get the color. So we'll set this back to red, or we'll set it blue. So that's blue. We start, and so imagine the player runs through that gate, and that's how they get the gauntlet. So if they run through this, their gauntlet would turn blue, and would probably have these animated or something similar. So exactly how this gate works. That's what I wanted to do instead of this gate. So you're pretty much getting the power from these statues. If they're red, you get red. If they're blue, you get blue. If they're purple, you get red and blue. And to do that, I would just make red and blue. If you pass through a red and a blue one, you get blue. And then if I want to add other colors later in like future iterations of this game, it wouldn't be hard. And then just new poses for the statues. So that way, there's like some sort of thematic reason to you getting color, and not just, oh, I passed through this gate. Oh well, I got gauntlets, and they turn colors. So that's where I am. I will, for the elevators, we'll just drag this one in. So for the elevator, I'm planning on, we'll just put this texture, the material on it. So put this on here. What? Where? Okay, elevator. Oh yeah, my bad. Because it's a blueprint. Elevator. So I would have to rebuild this cube, but it would have the same similar texture as before that you saw in the other game, but more tiled. And what I would have it do is it would be the divots here, these lighter colored divots, would have an emission that was whatever color. Like if it was a red elevator, they would be red, and they would emit red. So, well, I can't really do that. I don't have it for that, but that's what I would have it do, and that way you could tell what in the environment would be affected by your gauntlets. And then when you activate the gauntlet, you would perform the action with your hands that the gauntlet does. The gauntlet would light up, emit an energy of some sort. Maybe if it's red, it would, like fire would emit from like vents on the gauntlet, and your hand would start to turn molten. Similar to like when you try to cast like a fireball in Bioshock. And then the divots here would light up red, and then the object would perform its action. So that's what I'm thinking for that. That's something I can add. I'll add in. I just didn't have it ready this week, but just so you know what I'm looking to do to give, and then of course it would make a sound when it responds, so that there's visual, audio, and not tactile, but active cues to show the player exactly what's going to happen whenever they do that. So that's where I currently am. I need to draw out I'm going to draw out maps for the next 2 rooms so I can build them quickly instead of building them straight out. It's just if I want to build a elevator puzzle for the second room, and it's just easier to do the visual math or just the visual maze, I guess, if I do it on paper, so I know instead of having to just, oh, well, I need to move this over here now, I can just grid it out. And then I needed to do the same thing for the third room, where I position out where I need the components to be. But I'll have that on paper, and I'll get that to you before. I'll get that to you well before the end of the week, so that in the next 2 or 3 days, so that I know it's Thanksgiving weekend, but I wanted to at least have it there early enough for it to be looked at, so that if any changes need to be made, I can possibly receive them before I go to build it. So that's where I am. Thanks. I'll see you next week.